Pharyngotonsillitis is vectored by the mosquito Ochlorotatus punctodes. Mosquitoes are a very common vector of disease due to their feeding mechanism. This species is identified as having some of the following characteristics: 3 pairs of legs, 1 pair of wings, pronotum greatly reduced. Their proboscis, which is their mouthparts, is long. Also, the scales are present on the wing veins and margin veins. These are just some of the characteristics describing this mosquito. Here's a diagram of the mosquito life cycle. This is important when formulating a control plan to stop the spread of a disease. The mosquito goes through complete metamorphosis. After a female lays eggs in water, they hatch and become swimming larvae. The larvae, after many stages, then become pupae. The last step is when they develop adult features and emerge from the water. The adult female takes her first blood meal and is ready to mate and lay eggs. Next, let's talk about this species' geographical location. Ochlorotatus punctodes was first discovered in Alaska and is still prominent there. They are often found in prairies and grasslands as opposed to wooded areas. This species was more abundant after heavy rainfall, and populations were highest in the late spring to early summer, after which they gradually declined. Ochlorotatus can be found in all temperate, tropical, and subtropical geographical locations.
So, now let's take a look at the people that became host to our nasty disease agent. When taking a look at the people this vector came into contact with, we can see the similarities between the different cases. All patients were said to be traveling prior to falling ill, some of which were retired couples trying to enjoy the world together, while others were working citizens just trying to relieve some stress from their hectic lives. Most patients use cruising services to visit Alaska and other places along the west coast of North America, like California and Washington. Others were able to reach the same destinations on their own. Those that enjoyed a cruise up north often reported glacier watching and hiking, but all patients reported being bitten by mosquitoes, among other insects, while out and about. These people became sick very quickly, some even on the trip back to the lower 48 states. All patients experienced high fevers, low levels of oxygen in their blood, and an unknown infection. However, some individuals also experienced a sore throat, rash, abdominal pain, and even a coma in almost half the cases. The culmination of all the symptoms of this disease eventually led to death in all patients. Patient 0, the one suspected of bringing this disease agent back to the main population, was identified as Leland McKee. Leland is suspected due to the similarity in places traveled, but most importantly, the period of time in which he contracted this disease since he was the first reported.
The reservoir of our disease was found to be Quisculus quiscula, which is also known as the common grackle. It's considered one of the blackbirds, and it's known for its long legs and tail, and as an adult they can range up to 28 to 34 centimeters long. From afar they do look black, but as you can see in the photo we have to the right, they have iridescent feathers, so that's where you're going to see those blues and greens coming through, but that is going to be more common in the male birds. Grackles are going to be commonly found ranging from the Midwest to the eastern coast of the United States, some even reaching the southern parts of Canada. You're going to see grackles almost year-round in their American territory, and then during the winter months, much like other bird species, you're going to see that migration south, and that's when you're going to see that Texas population really boom. And we have that map to the left, and you can kind of see the range that the birds are going to be taking. Breeding season falls between early March through to August, so it is going to be more common to see a grackle around then. And then when we are talking about their peak time of day specifically, the evening is where you're going to most likely catch a grackle as they're flocking to their communal roosts for the night. Because the common grackle is going to be mostly seen across rural America from open to semi-open countryside, there's not going to be much direct human contact going on. You're going to see them hanging around small towns and farmland, rummaging around fields, pastures, and feedlots, just hanging out with the livestock there, such as sheep or cattle. When it comes to bird-on-bird interaction, you're going to see the grackles flocking alongside other large blackbird species, such as crows or ravens, and then as well as stealing food or nesting material from smaller bird species. And then you are going to see the grackle come into contact with insects, small reptiles, and small rodents because that is what their diet consists of.
The infamous disease agent that is involved in the cycle is a gram-positive bacterium called Listeria spiralis. It is rod-shaped Myconid bacillus and has a genome size of 169.28 kb. Colonies are able to grow in the presence of 4% sodium chloride. This bacterium is capable of fermenting carbohydrates such as mannitol, adonitol, glucose, glycerol, lactose, malonate, mannose, maltose, raffinose, salicin, sorbitol, and trehalose. Listeria spiralis is a type of bacterium to have a structure that helps ensure their survival through periods of environmental stress called endospores. In addition to that, they are not able to produce the catalase enzyme. However, they are able to produce hemolysin and are able to hydrolyze the compound hibaurate. This disease agent is able to convert tryptophan into indole, but they do not have the ability to hydrolyze esculin. They also lack the ability to reduce sulfur-containing compounds into sulfides during the process of metabolism. They also do not produce exoenzymes that are known to hydrolyze starch. Having said all that, Listeria spiralis is the cause of the fatal disease known as pharyngotonsillitis. This disease can be spread through close contact and is more susceptible during the winter and colder months. It is caused by the inflammation of the tonsils and inflammation that is mainly affected in the pharyngitis. It is more common for children under the age of 15 years old. There is not one set cause to these infections, but a variety that can cause one to contract this infection. For many cases, the symptoms start quite rapidly, but can start very slowly for other cases. These symptoms may look like other health conditions or problems, which can be dangerous for a person not realizing they have contracted this infection. The most common symptoms are a sore throat, low and high-grade fever, headache, loss in appetite, vomiting, painful swallowing, stomach aches, and redness in the throat. Testing for this disease is very important in order to determine if the infections are being caused by a bacterial or viral infection. If it is caused by bacteria, then antibiotics are prescribed. Antibiotics will not be effective if the infection is viral. Possible treatments for a viral infection can be acetaminophen or ibuprofen for pain and fever, drinking fluids, throat lozenges, and gargling with warm salt water. In some cases, a peritonsillar abscess can form in the tissue around the tonsils, which can be dangerous.
Disease control of pharyngeal tonsillitis. The reservoir of this disease is Culex kukla, large wild birds that range geographically all over North America. The vector of the disease is Euchlops punctus, a mosquito species commonly found along the coast, which is also a majority of the United States. Using this vaccination will allow us to break the link between the disease and the host after contact. The reason a vaccination was chosen as a primary method of attack is because that it would be much more difficult to halt interactions between a vector and the reservoir, so prominent throughout a majority of the country, which is why a vaccination can halt the interactions from the very beginning. Having a primary attack can be a vaccination. This also allows us to distribute vaccinations to people in areas where this vector is known to be. From our patient list, we can see that pharyngeal tonsillitis has been seen in central to southeastern United States, with cases in the southern Alaska and New Hampshire. Alaska appeared to be the area with the largest mortality rate, therefore vaccines would start there. Disease protocol for our vaccinations is to release our vaccine identification of the appropriate dose of the vaccine to trigger a response. Determining the safety of the vaccine can determine whether the vaccine has any side effects with other medicines, and determination of the effectiveness of the vaccine will have to take place. Manufacturing of vaccine is done in a highly controlled surrounding settings. Since the treatment of the disease is an after-the-fact method of control is not practical, administration of the vaccines be used to prevent the contraction and spread of pharyngeal tonsillitis. Pharyngeal tonsillitis can be caused by a host of agents, from virus to bacteria, which means the treatment of the disease varies as well. The symptoms of the disease are extremely common among many other diseases, and this increases the difficulty of identifying and treating the disease. With the use of vaccinations, the stress of diagnosing and the scramble to treat this fast-acting disease can be largely overlooked. A major concern is ensuring the public is well aware of the vaccination and what it can prevent. Once the vaccine has become available to be utilized in a doctor's office, a survey will be provided to the patients. This survey will be for personal information that includes their location. Once the survey is given back to the doctor will submit a survey to the CDC with information on the patient that obtained the vaccination. This will allow the use of the vaccine to be monitored so the effect of the vaccine on the disease could be shown. The survey will show us if the individuals in the affected regions are actually receiving the vaccine. Then we would monitor the regions to observe the rate of the disease, and if it increases, a decrease of the disease should be shown in the locations where the vaccine is administered. This vaccine will be available in all clinics, but to be administered first and focused on heavily in the states where the known affected patients resided in. Because of the disease has been shown to be fatal, it will continuously be advertised by doctors when the patients visit them. In addition to this, a commercial on television or radio could be created in order to spread awareness to a larger portion of the population. For other possible outbreaks that is not in the region where this disease heavily resides, studies and research will be conducted to observe if there are any other possible outbreaks that occur in the area, as well as adjustments will be made to ensure that the vaccination is now heavily more known in the area where the disease is contracted.